pop off to get excited. But Meta Falcon team, they have a game plan. We know that this team has a lot of synergy, having played together for some time. We'll see if they can execute it all. They do make a great team, and we'll see if it is going to be enough to overcome the Titans of Beyond Gaming.
And at the very least, they have the giant gargoyle in the mid lane.
That they do. That's something.
They have the in-game Titan.
It's kind of a like, I know the term Avengers gets thrown around a little bit, but I feel like it's almost an Avengers comp because everyone's going to fall out of the sky and do the superhero landing, and meanwhile Varus is just Hawkeye in the back, just chucking arrows at you.
Hey guys.
Yeah,
I hope
he's there
I'm safe.
too. He's there too, right? I mean, it's yeah.
He's either gonna be Hawkeye, throwing out a lot of damage in the backline, or he's going to just end up getting sacrificed like Black Widow.
Oh, oof, too soon, man. Anyways, yeah, on the Beyond Gaming side, I feel like, well, there's a lot of tanks to shred through, and there's a lot of CC to try and stop. Like, it's always a little bit rough if a lot of the enemy's comp can be countered by a QSS. And Wako has a cleanse. No surprises there.
He has a cleanse, but unfortunately it doesn't stop him from getting bopped up into the air by Galio ult and locked into a ultimatum by the Camille. So that will still be effective. But the interesting thing here is that Minji has gone, okay.
Predator Vex, yeah. There's an early start, but like, yeah, like Minji's like, all right, like he's going to play this like an assassin with the Shadow Sword.
I'm hunting.
I was wondering when we wanted to get to that, because, yeah, that's a choice. I respect it.
And I think it's in response to the possible Predator coming out from Wen, because that's a pretty common rune choice for the Galio to try and make early plays, especially when you need a lot of early game, right? A lot of early mid-game power to try and snowball the game, because Galio does lack a lot of damage towards the mid-late portions. So I actually like the choice coming in from Minji as a prediction game. Unfortunately, it just doesn't quite work out as well as he would like, but it will allow him to move around the map a little bit faster than Galio, or at least be able to catch up to Galio faster than he might expect.
Yeah, I mean, look, this speaks to my soul as a short person, right? Like, Minji has, like, Vex has very short legs, so Minji needs all the speed he can get to get her across the map as fast as possible. It makes sense to have the Predator, yeah. Yordles can't move as fast. I mean, look at Wen. Like, he doesn't skip leg day on that Galio. He's got those big legs, man, and he can even make the hero's entrance. It makes perfect sense to me. This is play-by-play logic, by the way. We don't do analysis here. Oh boy.
Oh, that being said, the reason why we're delving into the Avengers aspect is because not a whole lot has happened. Both of these junglers are on the opposite ends. We'll see where they decide to interact. Perhaps they transfer one in for the second crab, but Husha playing safe game here. Top lane Lee Kai, of course, that's going to be a big focus because he is a new addition, and they did play him this game, whereas in game number 1 against PSG, they did play the long-standing member of Leon.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Taco's going to try to like play straight up to the Gwen. I mean, this Camille with Ignite, it kind of harks back to last season a little bit, where they just were like, all right, we're just going to 1v1 up here and see who's going to come out on top. So far, Lee Kai definitely leading in the gold game with the wave pushed. And of course, 665 going to get that scuttle down on the bottom side as it was matched up on the top by Husha. But it is a relatively quiet start to the game. I think if there is a chance to open things up, it maybe is in this mid here if the Vex can get some damage out onto Wen. But, he's a big tanky gargoyle, so I'm not entirely convinced that's going to do much early on. There is a level advantage. Minji does have the edge at the moment.
Yeah, he's got the wave shoved up. Husha's coming back to his jungle. Both of them headed towards their Gromp. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a slow game, especially with these pings coming out from Husha. Husha was probably one of the better junglers when it came to tracking the opposing jungler. Unfortunately, he didn't have a great showing at Worlds, but I think that was also in due part to a couple of other circumstances. especially being you know, a first-time team as well. That certainly doesn't aid in that regard. But now we'll see if Husha starts to get going. At level 4, of course, very close to level 6 when he gets Cataclysm, but he can certainly make a lot of plays before then as well.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity with the flag and drag to get in people's faces early. Jarvan obviously has the sustain to be able to hang and dish the damage, but of course 665 should be able to do just as much as well with the Audacious Charge if he so chooses. Normally we see, you know, in the likes of the Xin Zhao, we're going to be looking for the big team fights where he goes in for the Crescent Guard and tries to keep himself alive as long as possible while his team makes the play. But with this Wombo combo, I'm not entirely sure that's going to be the game plan, right? It feels like after 6, what you're looking for is everybody just jumps on and tries to Goomba Stomp Wako, and, you know, he's going to run out of Summoner spells sooner or later. But we've got a while to go before that happens, and Meta Falcon team, I guess the name of the game is slow and steady.
It's a race to the other team's AD carry. It's literally just a sprint for their AD carry, because that's the objective of the game. Kill Aphelios or kill Varus, because that's a lot of the damage here, but also really the target for a lot of these dive champs.
Yeah, and, you know, credit to where it's due for Meta Falcon team. They did execute a triple dive composition pretty well yesterday. I don't want to harp on, you know, again, the fact that it was up against a pretty weak side in Hurricane Gaming, but, you know, when you come into the PCS and nobody really knows what to expect from you unless you've been watching the LSC or something, it's nice to see, you know, refreshing that the team has that level of synergy because they stuck together, because they have been playing together for some time. And Beyond Gaming are a very tough opponent, but we've seen some encouraging signs here. Let's see if we can keep it up here. As the Root goes down onto Epic, he doesn't take too much damage as he throws up the big Braum shield. And they are going to try and set up for this Hextech Dragon, but it is not safe to do it just yet.
Kino going for the hook, of course, with the Glacial Augment, really emphasizes your catch potential, but it doesn't make you any tankier. It's not the Aftershock where even if the hook isn't on an ideal target, you won't get instantly blown up. In this case, even if he hits a good target, he could still instantly blow up.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a risk for Kino. He's not the set he was yesterday. Man, I can't get over how many times he got to just like freely walk up and just like suplex Unified or Kaiwing. Like Kino had a fun day yesterday. I'm just going to say that. If you missed that game, go back and watch it. He played set support, and it was free.
It also would have been a pretty good pick here, given the fact that there is a Galio. But unfortunately, you know, you lock your pick in very, very early in the draft. Not a lot of flexibility. And, you know, I think it's probably better to save the 4-5 picks for more counter pick option lanes.
Counter pick support, man. That's what it's all about. Kino, I do think that Kino is like I don't want to say an unsung hero. I mean, supports don't often get a whole lot of press compared to the rest of the team. But like, you know, when we were talking up Doggo a lot last year, like Kino was keeping pace with him. He was keeping him in check, and, you know, every time he got a little too far forward, he would be there with the leash to pull him back just a little bit. And so far, he's done a lot to make Wako look pretty good. Not that Wako's needed it especially. He's a very serviceable replacement. Yeah,
and I think one of the big things for Wako is being able to come into a lineup that all speaks the same language. Because he looked pretty good on Boom. When they were speaking in 3 different languages, you couldn't even tell what was going on. So for him to be just a team that has just one language, that's a big indirect buff to him.
Yeah, that is. Okay, Taco saw that coming a mile away. He's going to be able to back off. Yeah, Boom was last year's Boom was a very interesting experiment, because on paper it made no sense at all. You talked about 3 languages. Like, I don't even know if like Rocky was talking in Thai or if he was just shouting incoherently, because he was just going deep all the time. But it was interesting, and the communication could not have been clean. But somehow they made it work, and Waka was a big part of that success. And I think there is something to be said for like that level of instinctual communication, as well as honestly just using pings well. You know, I mean, it's underrated.
Yeah, and League of Legends essentially becomes the language of choice here, as we're going to see a 4v4.
Yeah, we are. Shelly's in the mix as well. And here goes the Jarvan jumping in. Flags drags away as Rift Herald will get taken. And here comes the hero's entrance, but they're going to need a hero right now because Beyond Gaming definitely opened it up. Minji gets traded. That's actually good here for Meta Falcon team as they only lost Epic. Leakai, though, tries to make something happen. Low health bars around the board. And Meta Falcon team, they look like they're going to clean house on this one. Leakai low, the Winds of War not going to connect. 665 tracking on. And I do not believe it. Meta Falcon cleaning up Beyond Gaming. 4 for 1.
They just ran out of damage. The side of Megabank Beyond Gaming, they came short there. And yes, that is a short joke as we get to see the replay. When dodges out, flashes the hook, and his ultimate here is key. Also, Leakai's use of the immunity is really the big other point here. Is he uses it early on, which means he isn't able to get that extra immunity later in the extra damage reduction, and when gets such a huge cataclysm, Taco then becomes able to clean up the rest of the fight.
Yeah, Wen was absolutely the hero that Meta Falcon team needed right now. And again, greater than the sum of their parts. This is the Avengers squad right now. I'm loving what MFT just did. Can they keep it up? I mean, that's massive. Like, you don't expect this against the likes of Beyond Gaming. Sure, it's best of ones, you know, like we can talk about overanalyzing it all we want, but that was brilliant. Target prio and also just honestly, I want to say juggling aggro like it was PvE, but like they managed to keep Beyond from taking them down. Only Epic bit it in that one.
Yeah, brilliant start to the game for them. And now look at this handling of the waves. They're going to be able to maintain a freeze up in the top side. They also grab that wave in that bottom side. Make sure that doesn't fully crash, though. This is such a great setup for MFT. I really love the look, even when has the Rift Herald. So on his next roam, which he's going to have a lot of options because they are trapped in some of these lanes. If they get a kill, it's instantly going to be that tower down. Taco really putting the hurt onto Leakai. Younger player, maybe doesn't have a large enough voice to pull his jungler over to him to instantly knock this wave back into tower. It is going to leave that opening for Dragon on top of it. So this is a pretty late Dragon at 13 minutes into the game. Probably one of the later first Dragons we'll ever see in this meta. But still yet another win for MFT.
Yeah, they're starting to stack it up here. A little bit of gold lead has translated into some items. We already starting to see the mythics coming through, and Divine Sunderer completed before Leakai can do a whole lot about it. That fight obviously turning the gold game in their favor. Now the question is, can they keep moving this? Can they snowball it and turn the needle in their favor? At the moment, this game, you know, as we mentioned, was going to be a little slow, especially with the Drake take coming so late. But let's see if they keep this one up, you know? When, of course, sitting on the Rift Herald Eye, as they did want to try and find Minji. He does dash away, clipped by the Winds of War, as well as 3 Talon Strike from 665. The Gore Drinker 2-0. Rift Herald's going to get popped, and we're looking for some plates. Husha sniffing around for something here, but I think they're just going to let Shelly do her thing.
Yeah, just trying to pull attention away from that tower, make sure it doesn't take more damage, and it will be only those 2 plates. I mean, at the very least, it like the Galio had the Rift Herald himself. Usually you would have to split money, and it feels a shame if the jungler is the one to get all the gold for himself and the mid laner gets none of it. In this case, the mid laner is the one to get all of it, as he was the one with the Rift Herald Eye himself. And we're in a bit of a lull state, as this is a very slow-paced game from the beginning.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pacing for a little while here. The big edge for Beyond is just how much damage they were able to chip off that bottom turret, nearly finishing the job, in fact. And they did get a bunch of plates down there, so you know, that means that the goal difference with the Rift Herald isn't as stark as it could be. Now they're looking to try and set up a play, but Whale and Epic are playing very carefully, especially with as low as that tower is. They have to know something's up, as Kino and Wako, or at least Kino disappeared. Who's just waiting in the wings, but they're not going to go too far forward. Whale has quite a lot of range on that piercing arrow, and he has no reason to step up into this.
Yeah, I expect them to just go ahead and leave this tower as well here once they walk up, or they just prevent this set of minions from hitting.
They could try for a 4v3. I mean, that's going to be the tower. Wako actually stopped up by the Winter's Bite. 665 dashing in teleport. It's a full commit from everyone right now. We got a party in the bot lane, and let's see who's going to get it. Husha takes down first, or gets taken down first, as a double kill comes in for Whale. And the
Whale's
hero's
out.
entrance. 1, 2, 3. Meta Falcon team certainly looking beautiful here as they look to clean up more. Kino goes golden underneath the tower. Wako going to be left isolated as Epic. The rest of them, are we really going to get an ace here, Nightstar? Wako limps away. I don't believe it. Meta Falcon, another big win.
Pyra, I think your MFT investment's about to go to the moon.
How dare you, sir? Oh, I hate it so much, but that was a beautiful play. You can see this coming a mile away, but Beyond Gaming, they decide to play the coin flip, but they get rooted up here. The Chains of Corruption land. Minji tries to go in, gets interrupted. The knockups for days mean that Beyond just can't ability stack. What a beautifully executed fight on the Wombo combo.
Yeah, beautifully executed, and when yet another fantastic Galio ultimate. And you also have to say, this is the point of the game where MFT are incredibly powerful, right? They hit their one item spike. That one item is much better than Beyond Gaming's one item power spike. They really get a lot more power as the game goes on, and even then, like, Lee Kai's already doing a great job. Even at this point in the game, they're going to they should finish the tower. Yep,
they do, and they're gonna get the kill, but like Husha came dangerously close to dying on that one. I think Wen will be avenged though. The Rift Herald is gonna be a tasty treat. I mean, that tower was already going down, and yeah, Wen should have probably left a little earlier, but it is what it is. I don't think MFT are super worried about that. A healthy gold lead for the squad. Rift Herald secured means they should be able to open up on either mid or top pretty easily. Minji and Husha are going to do what they can here to try and equalize on gold down bottom, look for the objective bounty. But yeah, right now Beyond Gaming, they just don't seem to have a great answer for the 5-stack of Meta Falcon team. And Shelly will finish off the mid turret. 665 going forward. In fact, going to continue. Look at the damage to teleport. They're going to commit to this again. They pull the trigger once more. They want to fight, but unfortunately for them, you can go ahead and say the line, Nightstar.
What line do you want?
Gwen is immune.
Gwen is immune.
Yeah, they will get the dragon out of this, though. I mean, objective gameplay, it's good. You know, MFT are surprising me. I think yesterday I was, you know, it felt like anyone's game, but this would be a big upset as we get a pause coming in.
Pause does come in, so we get a little bit of time to take stock of everything. For the side of Beyond Gaming, yes, they do outscale, right? Because they still have Aphelios, they have Vex, they have Gwen. You can kind of say it's a little bit questionable if Vex does outscale, but in this instance, it does, because the Galio doesn't provide a lot of damage. It just provides a lot of CC. So you're going to have 3 carries versus 2. That's going to be good for Beyond Gaming. But the question is, how do they get through this mid game? Because this is where Meta Falcon team are going to be incredibly powerful, and we've seen Beyond Gaming are very willing to take these disadvantageous fights and just try and outhands them.
Yeah, and they've been able to do it, right? Like, layering the amount of just sheer CC and knockups has been, honestly, it's not easy to do, and the coordination that this team has is certainly allowing them to do it. Most teams, you know, coming into the league don't have that, but as we've repeatedly said, Meta Falcon team have been together for a while in the collegiate scene. They have a pretty good coaching backbone here to try and help them set up for these plays. So clearly this was a planned strategy, and the worry was they wouldn't have enough damage or, you know, enough skill to outfight a squad like Megabank Beyond Gaming, but clearly they do. So far in this game, scaling is still going to be on Beyond Gaming's side, but they need to hold out, as they've pretty much lost out on just about every objective so far. The map opens up, things could slow down, but there is a power spike still to work with, and I like what Meta Falcon team have been able to do with it so far.
Yeah, and the one good thing about the MFT squad is the fact that they have so much CC built into the composition. And if you look at the selection coming in from Beyond Gaming, they don't have any CC reduction. Yes, some of these CCs are, you can't exactly reduce the duration of some of these, but a lot of them you can, right? The taunt length, the Braum stun, the lockdown coming in from the Verisol, you can reduce a lot of those, but they haven't chosen because they also know that, hey, they have a lot of physical damage because the Galio shouldn't be a threat come mid-late game.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to hold on for that fact, but they can't take the fights anymore. I think it's no longer a coin flip for Beyond Games, so they are going to wisely back away. Now, it's just about the 20-minute mark. Baron's coming up. Obviously, Meta Falcon team won't be going for it that quickly, but they are looking to try and secure as much vision as they can around this side of the rift. And everybody's kind of piling on in this jungle behind the pit as Taco, the most fed individual member, is just becoming a big threat on the sideline. I mean, look at that EXP gap. 2 levels on Lee Kai.
He's got a big advantage over Lee Kai up in the top side, which is really, really key. Though.
Oh, no!
He's on a trip!
The flag and drag. Taco got a lot more than he bargained for, but he's going to be able to walk away. So, sometimes those hook shots go a little further than you intend.
Yeah.
But he's all right.
Yeah. That would be the taco truck never arriving where I am, and instead just overshooting every single time.
Come out to Los Angeles, Nine Star. We'll go get some incredible tacos. I will treat you.
Man. Can't wait.
One of these days.
One of these days. It's gotta happen. It will happen. For sure.
If you have no idea what the heck we're talking about, we'll get back into League of Legends, I promise.
I mean, this is, taco take 2, because we have 2 tacos.
Are you trying to tell me something? Are you hungry?
Unfortunately, we don't play on Tuesdays. Otherwise, I would make the Taco Tuesday joke endlessly.
Yeah, it was right there. Oh, I'll take it. It's okay. It's still any day could be a taco day, and we have 2 tacos in this league. They are different players, in case y'all are wondering. He's not just flipped a C for a K. But Meta Falcon team, they definitely have a lot of trust in their players to be able to execute these difficult comps. Because when we talk about wombo combos, it is, it's so easy to see it fail, right? But 2 for 2 now on really getting it going, and they really tried that third one. Obviously, Husha was able to flag drag away. You can't always get it, but they were able to disengage fast enough, and that's perfectly fine. Game state slowed just a little bit, but that's just a function of how open this map is right now.
Yeah, not a whole lot to do at the moment because you don't exactly have a ton of Baron shred. Yes, Varus has a little bit, but you don't have great damage coming in from a Galio, so that's a big thing here. And that's why
they should try to bait it, if anything.
This game has stalled out because they aren't able to just say, yeah, we can do it in 20 seconds. So Beyond Gaming have a lot of time that if MFT do disappear off the map, they can take their time in making their way over to the Baron to try and peek in. They can afford to be very careful when checking those brushes approaching that Baron.
That's true. Certainly trying to force the issue, brute force out some of those fights, but if anything, it should just be the Dragon take. It's coming in about 30 seconds, and Meta Falcon team would love nothing more than to be able to pick off a couple members of Beyond before that happens. However, with all the ward coverage, that's something that Beyond know exactly about right now, and it seems like the strategy is to just try and 4-1 this. Keep the pressure on the sidelines with Taco. He has teleport to get into these fights if need be. It has been unleashed for a while. However, it looks like 665 gets caught. Into the Crescent Guard he goes. They have enough damage to shred Kino. Beyond do not want this fight as the Glacial Fissure goes down. Whale does manage to take out the support, but they flag drag away instantly. Husha getting low, flashing out, and using the Hallowed Mist to stay alive. So even though they win the fight by a member, it was all backpedaling from the get-go, and that still means Meta Falcon team should be able to get it. In fact, it was Kino that went down quickly in this. Yeah, it's free Dragon, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's the issue that you face when you pick a Nautilus with Glacial Augment, right? You don't provide any value for your squad besides pick potential. And you can kind of see that in his itemization as well. He's gone for the Zanyas. Honestly, I would have loved to see the Even Shroud to just try and blow up a target faster because the Zhonya's provides pretty much zero value in this case. Once you use your first rotation of skills, you're not going to have the HP to get a second rotation after the Zhonya's in this instance. So MFT are in a great position because of a couple poor decision-making choices coming in from BYG as they try and just say, hey, we just have better hands, but you can't out-hands anyone if you're just CC'd for years.
That's very true. The hands don't work anymore in that case. For Beyond Gaming right now, I think they'll probably be thanking the RNG for the fact that it is only going to be a Cloud Soul. I mean, that's still useful, but it's not quite the raw combat stats that I think MetaFalcon team were hoping for here. However, the speed boost does mean they get into position a little bit faster, so at the very least, they'll be able to make some serious moves as they look to set up for this Baron. I feel like the order of the day is going to be really to try and bait the fight and turn when they can, because they've been able to win the fights as long as they don't get shredded too much by the Baron in the first place. So they do all have to stick at least relatively together for the time being, because Taco does not have the teleport advantage actually double advantage there for Beyond, as both Minji and Lee Kai are holding on to theirs. So there is a time window for Beyond to work with, and there is only so much time that MFT will be able to do this, as Husha didn't even get too close to the danger zone. Trying the Death Brush a couple of times, but nobody's biting on that bait.
Yeah, now MFT, they have that bot wave set up really well, as that's going to slowly start pushing in. But for the side of BYG, things are going to be a little bit sketchy here right now, because you look at the items, or some of these itemization, like we already talked about the questionable choice coming in from Kino with the Zhonya's, but then there's also Wako with his collector, right? And he's nowhere close to finishing his Last Whisper item. And if you look on the other side, there's Zhonya's completed, double Death Stance, and a Locket. So there's already a lot of durability coming in from this MFT squad that I don't know if Wako can actually have any impact.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough. And here's the thing, though, for MetaFalcon, as they danced around the Baron a little bit there, they kind of gave the game away a little early. They actually had the Baron shredded down to half HP, but then when Beyond were barely around the back of the pit, they all turned, and it was such an easy escape. I feel like you got to hard commit a little bit more, but this is something that you'll learn a little bit more coming into the PCS, doing more, getting more experience on this level of stage compared to what they have in the collegiate scene. These teams aren't going to fall for the bait quite as easily.
Yeah, and now we kind of go back to the fact that, hey, this was a very late first dragon taken. And because of that, it's allowed Beyond to have the slimmest of hopes in coming back into this game, because if it was taken at a usual time, you'd already have Cloud Soul right now. Or BYG would have to go for that YOLO fight to try and contest Soul here. And this is going to be the fight to try and close the game, because if NFT win it, not only do they get sold, they will be able to pick up Baron. That's where their side lane composition really gets to take off, and that will give them the opportunity to try and end the game.
Yeah, you can see that MFT really don't want to start the Baron. They're just dancing around the issue, waiting for that dragon spawn to come up in a minute, and just banking up the gold. No, yeah, but I think they have enough damage to really force the issue. The Ginsu's does come out as well for Whale, so
now
leave Taco on the... Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got enough to do it. So I feel like they're a little bit scared here. I think they have a lead. They know that they can outfight Beyond Gaming on their own terms. But I feel like they're a little bit afraid to use that lead at the moment. They're holding back, and I wonder if that's nameplate syndrome. I'm not sure. The problem is the longer this game goes, the more opportunities Beyond get to get back into this. But the safe play, yeah, set up, go for the soul, see if that fight can be forced. If not, hey, free soul, we'll take it.
We'll see if anything happens leading up to this dragon, as it is about to spawn in 10 seconds. Of course, Predator still on Minji. We haven't seen that to great impact, actually.
It's not really shadow surged at all, yeah. I mean, Minji's had a little bit of a rougher game on this Vex compared to his Akali performance yesterday. Do want to see a little bit more out of that player, but there's plenty of time left. Taco's actually going to solo start the Cloud Dragon here.
They're just going to try and keep him in check in this mid lane.
I mean, that should be free, right? I mean, then you turn it back up. Taco takes a little bit too much damage, though, so maybe he can't quite finish the job. The Cavalry will arrive. They should be able to finish this off, and it does look like Beyond might be making a beeline for the Baron. Not going to commit to that one, though. That'd be very risky.
I mean, Taco has the teleport available, so even if they go for that play, Taco will be able to join. And now they're going to see these channeled recalls. So that could provide an opportunity for MFT to just turn their attention towards the Purple Worm. And indeed, Huxia is a little bit aware to that. So he actually cancels his recall, throws down the control ward, and says, "Oh, Kino, you were backing on a ward, buddy."
Yeah, it's really a lot of ward wars. But, like, the difference here is, like, it's so obvious that Meta Falcon team want to bait this. They would much rather have the fight. And Beyond says, all right, let's go into the Thunderdome as they crack on the Cataclysm into the hook. And do they have the damage here? Luca is looking for it right now. They were trying to find the fight. The Moonlight Vigil going to get spent. And Gwen is immune, but MFT are just going to wait this one out as Epic taking a little bit of damage. The hero's entrance is going to only split the difference and just as much away. So many ultimates expended for nothing, Nightstar.
And not only was it expended for nothing, like, now you can start to see a little bit of the difficulties for MFT when they take these straight up 5v5 fights. If it's not in the perfect situation, they just don't have all the damage to back up really these engages. So if you don't hit multi-man knockups with that Galio ult, it's going to be tough. And BOIG, they get out by the skin of their teeth, but it bodes well for them continuing to move forward in this game as they are only down 4k gold. So the gold lead hasn't moved a whole lot this entire game.
Yeah, I feel like if MFT would just commit to the Baron, they can get a fight on their terms, but they're just being so obvious about how they want the 5v5. It lets Beyond respond a lot more intelligently, and they just, I want them to just start it. I think they can shred it pretty fast. I mean, we're 30 minutes into the game. They have Cloud Soul to move quick enough and get into position, but they're letting Beyond dictate the flow.
Yeah, I think now that Whale has the completed Ginsu's Rage Blade, they should have really postured a lot more aggressively around this Baron buff to try and bait it out, because now you do have the extra damage coming in from your W with the percent health to do a number. Either that, or he could have gone for something like a Blade of the Rude King, which did get buffed recently. But in that regards, like, once Wako completes that last Whisper, MFT are put on absolute notice, because that's when the damage is just going to flood in.
Yeah, there was always a timer, right, for them to react, and that window is closing pretty quickly. I give them a couple more minutes before it starts to become a real problem. Again, Meta Falcon team, they see a couple of players backing. Like, you just start the Baron. It's okay. You can do this. I believe in you. But they're not doing it. Beyond Gaming, they're going to have a pretty safe defense. They'll back. They just wait for the time. All these objectives stacked up by Meta Falcon, and it's just not amounting to much at the moment. Whale does even go back. He gets a Guardian Angel, so he's about as safe as he can be on top of it.
Yeah, and just look at these inventories right now. It is everyone understands the importance of this next fight. There are so many stasis. You've got stopwatch on stopwatch on stopwatch on Zanya's, on GA. There is plenty of lives to be chewed through before the fight will come to a conclusion. And this next fight will pretty much decide the game here, as MFT
they start the Baron.
Finally start it. Can they complete it?
They already have a lot of damage, but the rest of Beyond are here. You can see the Galio waiting for the hero's entrance. The turn happens too fast again, and nothing happens.
There's no flanks
Ben was
being
looking
set up
for it.
Yeah, and there's really just no flanks being set up here by the side of MFT. This is a composition that they need access to that backline, whether it's with the Camille flank or the Galio flank. Something has to be generated. They can't be too honest about their approach. They can't just kind of stare them in the eye, really kind of like old war tactics where both armies line up across from each other and then they yell charge and the fight begins. No, they can't be honest about their approach. They have to be really sneaky about it. Now they're going to start it up once again. Can they get a flank angle?
Well, it looks like the flank was going to be happening here. Taco around the side. He does have the X-Egg ultimatum into the Galio. Do they have the damage? Everybody sitting in stasis here is Husha trying to stay alive. Wacko going to get shut down. That's massive. Here, is it going to be MFT taking the fight? Husha limping away. Kino is going to be left all by his lonesome, and it is 5-on-1. Gwen might be immune, but Beyond certainly do not have loss prevention on. That has got to be Elder Dragon.
Has to be Elder here. They're going to take this mid turret and
they might just push it.
With 25 seconds, they can certainly look to try and end here. We'll see if Leakai is able to clear out the minion waves or take down this Varus. That's really all he needs to do is try and delete.
No, they've got him. Into the mist he goes. That's the ace. That's going to happen. MFT against all odds. They managed to find the fight after such a long setup, and 35 minutes in, take down Beyond Gaming.
Wow.